Let's talk Lamar Jackson. We spoke about it with Albert Breer in hour number one. His market doesn't look great as he gets set to hit the restricted free agent market on Wednesday. He can speak to any team that wants his services at 4 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesday, as long as they've got a first-round pick in both drafts in 2024 and 2025, because that's what would be required to give to Baltimore if Baltimore looks at the offer sheet you signed Lamar Jackson to and says, we pass. We'll just take a first in 2024 and a first in 2025. So technically you need to have those in your back pocket just to sign Lamar to an offer sheet, and thus, I would imagine, just to talk to him. That happens at 4 Eastern time on Wednesday. Right now in the negotiation window, you can talk to any unrestricted free agent. As we know, Lamar is restricted with a franchise tag that allows him to seek his market, because the Ravens and him have not been able to come to an agreement on a long-term deal. And the Ravens told Lamar, you go find it yourself. You seek your market, even though the market is definitely depressed by the fact that it costs 2 ones to sign him. And also, one would think, his monetary demands. As the story goes, he wants Deshaun Watson's contract. $230 million, all guaranteed. And that contract's already been deemed unworkable, just 1 year in, because the Browns and Watson did it. I mean, Watson, I imagine, will still get every penny, but they redid it so the Browns have more cap room this year. Well, Adam Schefter went on his pod and said that the Ravens, prior to last season, offered him a contract, $133 million due at signing, guaranteed. Also had injury guarantees that brought the guarantees to $175 million. And then they had what he called a springing guarantee that could have brought the value of the contract, the guaranteed money of the contract, to $200 million, saying that was the situation. So, quote unquote, so those really were the guarantees for Lamar Jackson. That got tweeted out by a Twitter account called @BeMoreBeatdown, Baltimore Beatdown. They're talking about their favorite team, the Ravens. Well, that caught Lamar Jackson's eye on Twitter today, because he tweeted a GIF of somebody giving the look of, yeah, right.
Right.
Is that what you would call that? That GIF of, forget it, that's not true, that ain't happening? He didn't turn it down. However,
big hat.
However, he did then string the tweet of that GIF to a tweet saying 133 over 3 years, fully guaranteed, but I need an agent, ? And then finished up by saying, people throw poop emoji at the wall and hope it stick. Leave that up for a second, if you don't mind, Mr. Hoskins. So if you read these tweets, it's the 21st century, right? I mean, this is straight from the newsmaker himself. So that means it's not true that he turned down $200 million in guaranteed. And it is true that he was offered 133 over 3 years, because he says, I got that on my own, so you think I need an agent, huh? Because as you know, that has been the major criticism. He doesn't have an agent. So right now there's nobody working a back channel for him, because you can't contact the player. He's currently not allowed to be contacted until 4 Eastern time. So there is no agent doing the groundwork right now to find out what the market will be, or drum it up. Drum it up. Because he's representing himself.
That's still $44 million a year.
So that's his point. So now then, if he turned that down because he says, I don't need an agent, right? Am I reading that right, to use the Tyreek Hill phrase that pays here? Because
I think he's making fun of everyone who says he needs an agent.
Right. By confirming that he's turned down $133 million guaranteed.
Am I reading this right?
Correct?
I think so.
Okay. Thus, do we also read into it that $200 million guaranteed, he wouldn't turn that down? Because that's crazy. Like, that's not true. Meaning what? The Ravens didn't offer him that. And thus, do we read into the fact that he would accept that? Or he would entertain that? Or he's just rejecting that the Ravens didn't reach that number, thus giving him pause to sign it, agree to it?
I don't know.
Am I reading that right?
I'm not sure.
So is he just saying that it's not true? People just throw it out there as if it's true. Meaning, if I'm the Colts, because again, put up on the screen, Mr. Hoskins, what we believe based on the fact if you don't have 2 firsts in the next 2 drafts, and you don't have a generationally talented quarterback already, and you do have a quarterback that you pay a ton of money to, or you've just signed a quarterback like, say, Seattle or the Giants or the Saints, we believe this is the remaining market for Lamar Jackson. And even the 7 teams that we have on the screen with the Jets and the Falcons being 2 teams that the Jets are clearly in on Aaron Rodgers. Could they be in on Lamar if Rodgers does heel turn? Maybe. Falcons just signed Taylor Heineke to a 2-year deal. You could say, Rich, so what? Well, so what? It was $20 million, and they also signed Jesse Bates as safety for $60. I mean, you can read the tea leaves on how they're building their roster. The Commanders head coach, Ron Rivera, told Sherry Burris of NFL Network, she mentioned on her reporting multiple times when I was on the Free Agency Frenzy show hosting it on NFL Network yesterday, she spoke to Ron Rivera, who said, we are not in on Lamar. And then you look at the Texans 2nd overall. Are they flipping that to Baltimore for Lamar? Or are they going to draft C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young and go to work with a kid starting from scratch, with a new head coach starting from scratch? I think that's it, too. So you put it up on the screen again, if you don't mind, Mike. So you remove the Jets, Houston, Falcons, Commanders. You were 3 teams that could knock on Lamar's door tomorrow. Titans, Colts, and Bucks. And the Bucks have Kyle Trask and $35 million of dead Tom Brady money on their cap. I don't think they're going in that direction either. Are the Titans and Colts doing it? Let me just choose the Colts, because they're sitting 4th overall, and they might not get the quarterback they want. If I'm the Colts and I read these tweets, I make up a contract, $200 million guaranteed. That's not the full contract, but do it. And send it in.
Across the table.
All right, Lamar.
See what happens.
You say it was not true that you turned down $200 million?
Here it is.
Well, here it is. Do you turn this down to come play for the Indianapolis Colts? And if you do, we are happy to flip the 4th overall selection and our first next year. We are off this train of revolving doors of veteran quarterbacks that disintegrate in front of our eyes behind a line that doesn't protect them well enough. We're done with it. So one way that, you don't worry about the protection of the line is if your quarterback's out the gate anyway. And we got Pittman, we got Pierce, we got Jonathan Taylor, we got a team here. Can't be too far off on the cap number. If you can make sure it's not all guaranteed, you figure it out, you fit him in. And you send it to Lamar and say, you didn't turn down $200 million? Well, turn this down. He just, in my mind, with the tweet, set a number. If I'm sitting in a front office somewhere and I'm inclined to do this, and the other part about signing him to an offer sheet is, as Albert Breer pointed out, and it's true, a team will lift the kimono on their current quarterback situation by going in Lamar's direction with an offer sheet. And you don't want to do that to a quarterback that's young on your team that you say you've believed in for 2-3 years and the locker room is bought into. Suddenly you're like, okay, we're going to go in a completely different direction and give the richest contract in the history of the franchise to somebody that's never played it down here. Sorry, everybody that's waiting in line for their enriching deal. It does create a problem. But there is no quarterback in Indianapolis to piss off right now. And you have a new head coach that just showed what he can do with Jalen Hurts. What can he do with Lamar? These are all things that I'm sitting around thinking about when I see these tweets. Lamar just set a price. $200 million guaranteed. I didn't turn that down. There's my gif of saying, get out of here.
Big cap.
Big cap.
Big cap.
Big hat, as you said.
So that's what I take from all this. And Lamar has got to read the writing on the wall. That, as far as I'm concerned, there's two teams. All it takes is one, but there's two teams that are quarterback needy that are going to be knocking on his door, unless it's one of those that blow your mind. Like, say, the Vikings. Would they do that? I mentioned a whole bunch of teams that would blow your mind.
Rich, this is the NFL.
For Lamar.
Would something that blew your mind surprise you?
No, it wouldn't. This is the famed hell going on month.
So
March is the hell going on month.
I think we should lean towards that, maybe.
I don't know what a team that blow your mind for going for him. Dallas. I mean, Arizona. Instead of trading down and getting all them picks for the third overall pick, you get Lamar and you tell, hey, does the team want a convalescing Kyler? I don't think that is a position of strength. I don't think they do it. The Vikings, they swap one quarterback that they pay fully guaranteed to another one that's paid like a Major League Baseball pitcher. The Packers, after all this. The Bears, after trading down and out. The Lions, the Patriots, the Steelers. I don't think this is happening. I think there's two teams. And I don't think the Titans are interested in that either. But if I'm the Colts, I don't know. I know Baltimore already hates the Indianapolis Colts.
I was going to say,
for many reasons.
You're going to start another blood feud.
But for them to basically stick the Ravens with a big fat $200 million tab, or you get Lamar Jackson instead of rolling the dice on Will Levis potentially. For a fan base that watched basically the movie Cocoon play out at the quarterback position over the last 3 years. Minus Jessica Tandy, of course. So
you would think having Jonathan Taylor would make that really enticing.
I don't know if they're going to have it in them to do that.
Yeah. They don't have the fortitude?
I don't know if they have the fortitude. I mean, you don't look Chris Ballard in the face and say you don't have the fortitude. No, I just don't think that anybody wants to go in the direction of spending that much money on the quarterback position.
But that's the most important position on the field.
I get it, but there's enough question marks from the way he finished the last 2 years to what does he really want to how do you get to him? You know, I guess you dial up his phone. And then, how much does he want? I would make the call if I'm the Colts. That's for damn sure. At 4 Eastern time, I call up what I'm assuming is a 305 area code number. Not to peg it, but
yeah, probably.
Is that the Miami area code?
Yeah,
305 is Miami.
So I mean,
it's the 305.
Old school Miami. So if I'm the Colts, I'd do it. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.